So I thought I'd talk a little bit about my journey here. So my first experience with Buddhism was in 1998 at a retreat at Cloud Mountain with Vinapa children. And so I did the math, and it's 27 years. That just astounds me. Gosh, anyhow. So in these 27 years practicing, I have changed tremendously. So I know how to work hard, but working hard is not enough. It also needs to be meaningful. And these last 27 years has been hard, but very meaningful work. And I am astounded at how much I've changed, but it's mostly about the path. I have such conviction in this path. Whether I want to practice or not, but I do, whether I'm gung-ho and fully in it, and anything in between that, that's what I've done in these 27 years, but yet I have transformed. So it's the path. It works. It doesn't matter what you bring to it, as long as you're present and you try. You're going to transform. That's what happens. You just do the best you can with your ability, and then people start watching you transform. I thought today that I'd highlight some of the big shifts in my body, speech, and mind. And of course, there's so much, because it's such a dependent arising, and there's no way that one could catalog all the things that made me what I am today at all. That's impossible. But there are some things that kind of stood out in my mind, so I thought I'd just talk about those a little bit. And of course, everything that I am talking about, I am continuing to practice. I am an ordinary person. The interesting thing about this path is, as you practice, and especially through purification and merit making, your capacity to hold is bigger, bigger, bigger. So you start getting a bigger mind. And as you get a bigger mind, then you can hold more. And as you hold more, then you can progress further and faster, I think, actually. So the first thing that came to my mind when I thought about this was I work on changing a habitual external focus to an internal focus. So especially when I first came here, everything about my world was out there. This was unknown. This was unknown. And so, that kind of perspective brings the enemies forward, all the attachments forward, all the things that create misery in our lives. So that was the first thing I started working on. And that took years and is continuing to take years. So it's still very deep habitual pattern. So I also work on changing internal criticism to acceptance and compassion. So the critical mind disrails practice tremendously, and nobody deserves that kind of internal judgment. It's not helpful. I work on decreasing the 10 non-virtues. I engage in purification and merit making. Out of all the things that I've done here, I would say the things that have been most powerful is purification. Merit making is a little harder for me anyhow, because the way that this Abbey is structured, we are involved in virtuous actions all the time, and so we're making merit. But I don't remember that. And so when I don't remember that, it's not really so powerful, I think, not so strong. But purification, that I know. And I know when I'm doing that, and I have reaped the benefits of that, which are huge. So I attend yearly 3-month winter retreats, which increases my ability to concentrate, increase my self-compassion, and I work on developing equanimity, and I kind of digest what has happened in the year, I think, and kind of integrate it into my mind a bit. And that's the time, after that retreat is over, that's the time when I look to see what the changes are compared to last year. So this is a slow-moving process. It's not quick. So, but once a year, certainly I can always see some things that are different, that are going in the direction that I want to go. I've received intensive teachings on the major commentaries and have been able to make connections to many extraordinary teachers through the kindness of Venerable Children and Venerable Khatro. As a person alone by myself, I would have never met any of those extraordinary people. So I use nonviolent communication to work on my speech. That's also a slow process, boy, because the habits. I continue to develop a trusting relationship with my teacher, which has become healthier over time, certainly. I've begun to see the connections between different Dharma concepts and deepened my understanding of the path. This is a very interesting process for me. It's quite joyous, and I never see it coming. I mean, it's like last night when we heard the teachings on concentration, there were some points that Venerable talked about how you bring your mind to concentration and how you set your attitude and an intention toward that. And this process of creating joy and seeing what it actually is so that you can kind of enter into it. I probably read that before or whatever, or heard it before, but last night, kaboom, it really went in. So that kind of thing happens after you amass enough information about this path. At least that's how it's been for me. And I think of it like a tapestry. And so there's all of these strings hanging down in this tapestry that you're creating, and they're not really connected, but it's like, here's this information, and here's that, and here's that. But after a while, they start connecting. And then it's like, oh, this brings that, and oh, that influences that. And so then I think that's the thing that kind of makes the mind vaster, actually. So now at age 74, when I notice changes in my body, I try to look directly at myself and not turn away from the changes. This is the same way I try to practice looking at this samsaric world and not turn away. This is compassion practice. So really accepting what this is and not letting myself fall into personal distress, but being very pragmatic about it. Of course, this is what it is. And I can be pragmatic because I know what the path does. I know what the end result is. So acceptance of all the changes internally gives me permission to have tenderness for myself and honor my experience. When I have compassion for myself, I'm not critical or judgmental. When I have compassion for others, I'm not as critical or judgmental. And I'm also not battling the facts of my life anymore. I'm practicing letting go. Letting go of resistance, not fighting against what is or what was. And it's a dismantling. It reminds me of when I made the decision to move here and I was undoing my life and throwing things away and going through everything and giving things away. And I was scared to do that because at first, because I thought, oh, this is too hard. I can't do this. Then I won't have anything. And I'm vulnerable then or whatever. And of course, the interesting thing, the more I got rid of, the lighter and happier I got and the more calm my mind became. So this dismantling is very nurturing, I think. And this is a practice for death time. I don't know when I'll die, but I have been preparing for it for a long time. And instead of fear of death, I'm working on preparing this mind stream inhabiting this body, this life. And I'm working to get it ready for rebirth. And I'm so thankful for the last life this mind stream inhabited as it brought this precious human life. And that gives me great confidence. I can find no causes or condition this life that brought me this here today to look like this and practice this way. So the only explanation is past life. And so I trust that. And so now I am working to take care of this. I'm going to pay it forward and get it in the best shape possible for next life now. So that it can, continue to practice toward full awakening in order to benefit all beings. And as Atisha wrote in The Lamp for the Path to Awakening regarding benefiting all sentient beings, one of the verses is, in the Bodhicitta section is, I shall purify limitless, inconceivable lands and remain in the 10 directions for all those who call my name. That's what we're going toward.